Hello, everybody. I hope you had a great week. Welcome back to the next installment of Movies That Move Week. Today, we're going to be talking about a movie that I think had a limited release in theaters. I didn't get a chance to check on that, but before we get to that, let's talk about our sponsors. So, we have Irby Entertainment or Irby Worldwide. You can find them on Facebook. Um, all of your DJing needs, your entertainment needs, contact Irby. Share Dazzle Salon of Chesapeake, Virginia. Nicole's not here with us today, but they usually keep her hair looking fabulous. Okay, so if you are in the Chesapeake area, check them out. And last but not least, Color You Cosmetics. They are also in Virginia. I believe they have a location in Georgia. They have classes if you want to learn how to put your makeup on. They will teach you all of that. They have a makeup line. Go ahead and check them out. Color You Cosmetics. All right, so let's get into it. Today we're talking about Alice. 2022 version. There's another movie by the same title. The one you want to look for is the one with Keke Palmer on the poster. Okay, this movie features Keke Palmer, Common, and Johnny Miller. Um, the movie is based on an actual event. An actual event inspired this movie. Um, the premise is that there is a whole family that has been enslaved in on a Georgia plantation, and they don't know that it's 1970s. They don't know that they are by law free people. The inspiration for this was based on the story of Mary Louise Wells Miller. Her family escaped their slaveholder at the time, and that was in 1963. She did an interview on it, I think, in 2000, I want to say 2010. She has since passed away. She passed away in 2014. But she explained she her family did not know that they could leave at any time, and there was nothing that their owner can do about it. This type of slavery is called peonage. Why it needs another name, I don't know, but it's called peonage, and it's defined as um, debt debt slavery. That's what it's called. Peonage began after the Civil War and was legally outlawed in 1867. Again, May's family was not emancipated or didn't run to their freedom until 1963. Keep that on the sticky side of your brain. In this film, Alice, played by Keke Palmer, her family is enslaved to a man named Paul. And Paul does all the typical things. The thing that stuck out to me was the fact that he told Keke's husband, oh, basically, we're running low on inventory, so I'm going to send you over to the neighbor and you're going to marry his servant. Hearing that, I'm like, wait a minute, there was a network? There's more than one of them doing this? What the fork? So, um, that's when they started talking about it. And you can tell from the conversation, it wasn't the first time that they talked about what's out there. There has to be more than this. And they finally devised a plan of escape. Alice's husband tried it first, and he was caught. He was shot. Sorry, spoilers, but there's stuff beyond the typical slavery scene that will really make your head go pop. So there's a point where Paul refers to what he's doing to these black people that he's holding as slaves as tradition. And that's about the point that Alice was like, I can't take this anymore. And so when you get to the movie, the opening scene is her running. She has escaped, she runs, and she ends up on a highway and almost gets hit by a car and a truck. So the person who plays the truck driver, Frank, is Common. And he gets her to a hospital because he thinks that she's crazy, realizes that she's not, realizes that the hospital is about to put her in an asylum. And he said, no, I can't let that happen. He took her home. He took her home, got her clothes, fed her, whole nine, tried to bring her up to date on where and when thing parallels and questions. And I think the writer director, this is her first film, Kirsten Ver Linden. I think I'm saying her name right. I think she did a fabulous job of creating these parallels between these two worlds. And there were points where I found myself going, well, shoot, what's the difference? Under Paul or under this other guy? What's the difference? Paul, not Paul, Frank's brother owns a farm. And this is the first point where I was like, interesting parallel. You have a man who's been emancipated, born emancipated, and he has a business where his tone, his attitude towards his employees really makes you think modern day slavery. Okay, folks get a check, but it's a mindset. It's a mindset. And several times you'll find yourself coming back to that and going, huh, freedom is a mindset. One of the things that Kirsten did with this film, one of the parallels, one of the tools she used to create the parallel and the energy, instead of placing this in the 60s, where the 60s was the height of the civil rights movement, people were saying, I'm fighting for this. She put it into the 70s, where there was a boldness and an energy. People were talking about Black power. People weren't asking for their freedom. Black people were not asking for their freedom at that point. They were declaring it. And one of the tools that she used to illustrate this were some of the Black exploitation films of the time. So Shaft, Foxy Brown, those types of movies. And Alice, the character, um, is taking all of this in. This is an entirely new world. Sitting at a movie, watching TV, using a telephone, all of these things were new to her. But when it came down to watching the films and seeing Black people on film acting and having control and basically saying anything they felt like saying to white men with no retribution, she was like, oh, I knew there was more. Here it is. I'm taking all of it. So you find in the movie that she goes from dressing like Harriet Tubman to all of a sudden turning into Foxy Brown, basically. And she's okay with it. She's all in. She's like 70s, here I am, I'm for it. And then she goes to get back her family against all advice. She was like, I can't be free and they're not. So I'm going to leave it there as far as scenes in the movie. I think Kirsten did a great job telling this story. I spent the week trying to figure out how I was going to share this with you guys because this movie is a lot. There's a lot of layers to it, a lot of parallels, like I said. The one thing that's still kind of itching at my brain is, okay, is this a horror movie? And just because there's not blood and guts and stuff like that doesn't mean it's not horror. There are certain things to Black folks that would be horror that other folks would be like, it's a big deal. She got free. Could this qualify as a horror movie? Does this qualify as time travel? She went from thinking she was in one time period to living in another, just like that. And she had to go back to people who believe they were in a certain time period in the same space. So it's kind of interesting where how this could be placed as far as a genre. I'm leaning towards the time travel end of it myself, but overall, I give this movie uh, out of 5 stars. I give it all five. There was only one little flaw, and you could nitpick about it, and that's all of a sudden Alice had pierced ears. When did that happen? But like I said, tiny flaw. It makes her look complete for someone who's in the 70s. I ain't gonna complain about it too much. The acting was great. The cast was great. Excuse me. The storyline is compelling, and again, it's based in factual events. Um, but it also leaves the question: if it was happening in the 70s, is it still happening, or in the 60s, is it still happening now? It's not so impossible, and again, it doesn't have to look like Black people. So with that said, I recommend. I rented this on Prime. I think it may still be in some theaters. I think it may have had a limited release, but I'm not sure. If you can't find it in your local theater, by all means, go ahead and rent this. It's a great movie. Will leave you a lot to think about, I think. Um, I could dig into how they used symbolism and things like that. I'll let you find that out and feel free to share your thoughts on that. Um, we'd love to have you join our group. Well, actually, before we do the group thing, follow your mods. You can find me at nikkeiwrites.wordpress.com. Go ahead, check out past writings. I haven't written anything in a few weeks, but go ahead, check me out. Don Miskell, our original founder who passed away earlier this year, make sure you check out his page. You can also find his books on Amazon. He was an awesome writer. Be sure to check him out. And also, Nicole DeCandis, she is busy putting some new material together for her platform. So go check her out. She has a series of new videos coming out. Check out her book, I Affirm Today. Um, Lots for you to see there. And she also, anywhere you want to find her, she is. Just type in Nicole DeCandis and she'll pop right up. At the start of the show, you heard music from Robert Rice Jr. at smoothology.net. Go ahead, check him out, smoothology.net. Download his album, shout him out, okay? Great music. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this with a friend. Really, seriously, this is interesting stuff. Like and subscribe to our YouTube page. You can find us at Media That Moves We, and we're on the playlist Movies That Move We. So go ahead, check us out. like and subscribe, share with a friend. We also have a Facebook group called Movies That Move We, where we have all the discussions. Every movie that we reviewed is posted there also. We ask you to answer three little questions because we're trying to screen the bots out. And we look for people who really want to be involved in the group. So if you've gone through our catalog on YouTube, you like what you're seeing, join the group, join the discussion. Okay, so thanks for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another movie. Tune into the group to find out what movie that is. The banner changes every week, okay? So go ahead, peep what we're doing for next week, and join the next discussion. Thanks for joining us. Until next week. Bye bye.